Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Calyx Services Garden. I am Thelma, and today's topic is Bougainvillea. Now, among the tropical ornamentals we featured on the channel so far, Bougainvilleas have been by far the most popular. And while we concentrated on showing you how to maintain your Bougainvilleas, I think it's about time we show you how to propagate them, because it's now the warmer months of the year and Bougainvilleas all over the place are in their splendor, and I am sure some of you would like to have more in your garden. So please keep watching and I'll show you how easy it is to propagate Bougainvillea from stem cuttings. Welcome back and thanks for staying. For the regular viewers, I say a special welcome. And if you're visiting the Calyx Garden for the first, second or third time, a special welcome to you also. We hope you like what you see and encourage you to take a look at some of our over 100 videos so far on gardening in the tropics. I'm sure there's information there that would be of benefit to you, so we encourage you to subscribe. And today's video, Bougainvillea, I'm very anxious to get started. I have already taken cuttings from the red variety in my garden. Red only because it was the easiest plant at hand, but the methods I'm going to show you apply equally well to all of the other colors of Bougainvilleas. Now in this video, I will be showing you how to take the cutting, how to prepare the cutting for rooting, how to prepare the potting mix, as well as how to set the cuttings to root. And as a special bonus, we are going to show you the results after 3 or 4 months. So let's head on over to the demo table. First thing we do when we're taking cuttings or cutting any plant material, we sterilize the cutting tool. And here I'm using hydrogen peroxide. And I'll be taking cuttings from the semi-hardwood section of the stem. What do I mean by semi-hardwood? Well, the top portion of the stem that bends easily like this is referred to as the softwood section. While this section roots easily, it requires very frequent misting, and since I don't have a mist propagator, I'll discard this section. Below this section is the semi-hardwood area, which roots fairly easily without the need for frequent misting. The end of the stem is rather tough and difficult to cut. It also takes longer to root, so I'll discard it. I'll remove most of the leaves from the lower end of the cuttings. This reduces moisture loss due to transpiration, plus it helps to keep track of which end of the cutting to insert in the media. Keep the cuttings in water so that they remain hydrated. In the next section, I'll show you how we prepare the propagation media. I decided to relocate to a more protected area as the sun was getting rather warm. Now I'll turn my attention to the propagation media, and in the meantime, I'll just keep the cuttings hydrated. For optimum success, your propagation media should be one, sterile. In other words, try not to include materials that will harbor pathogens. Soil and compost could do that, but your propagation media has to be free draining, as well as it should be able to hold some moisture in order to keep the cuttings alive during the rooting period. And today I'm going to be using coarse river sand, and that really is to encourage the drainage. And for the component that holds moisture, I've decided to use a commercial growing media that has vermiculite and perlite. Now there are other components or the materials you can use to provide those two functions, the function of free draining and moisture. You can use perlite, that one drains easily, as well as if you have coconut coir or cocoa peat as they say, that would also be an ingredient to hold the moisture. I'll combine equal portions of the sand and the vermiculite perlite mix to make the propagation media. It's now time to fill the containers, and I'm using 4-inch pots, each of which will hold 2 cuttings. You may use any size container or even a propagation bed that can hold many more cuttings than I'm using in this demo. Water thoroughly and allow the excess to drain through the bottom of the containers before you insert the cuttings. I'm going to be putting 2 cuttings in each container because not every cutting will set out roots, so we have a compensation factor there, 50%. I'm going to be using a general purpose rooting powder. This one contains 0.1% IBA hormone, and it's good for semi-hardwood cuttings. It speeds up the rooting. They will still root without it, but you are likely to get a higher percentage of cuttings set in root than if you did not. And when you're using your rooting hormone, do not stick the cuttings directly in the container. That will contaminate the whole bottle. So I usually just put a small amount in a container and swirl it around, knock off the excess. Now, because we have washed river sand in the container, we really don't want to just place the container, the cutting directly in it. A lot of this rooting hormone would be rubbed off, and you may damage the back of the cutting. So just make a little insertion and carefully place the cuttings to a depth of about 1 inch or 1.5 inches into the mix. You don't want it too deep. You're leaving enough space for the cutting for the roots to go downward in the pot. Here are the 4 pots that are now ready for placing in a protected area away from direct sunlight. Monitor moisture level in the pots and water sparingly, only when the top inch or so of the media becomes dry. Very soon, in about 3 weeks, you will see small leaves appearing at the nodes. Do not make the mistake and assume that it has started to root. It hasn't started to root, so leave them intact. It takes about 4 weeks or so before the very fine roots start to come. And if you disturb the plant, if you shake the cuttings during that time, you are likely to damage the root. Fast forward 4 weeks, and the young shoots have emerged at the nodes, which is a very good sign. But remember, there are few, if any, roots at this stage, and if the cuttings are exposed to any shock, such as moving to another environment, they may die. This gives you an idea of how the shoots develop. The image to the right shows the cuttings at 6 weeks, and you can see how the shoots have grown. But remember that the cuttings are still not ready to be moved. They'll need about another 6 weeks. Here are the results after 3 months. A quick glance and they look pretty good. But let's look at the level of success. Both cuttings in this pot have rooted, but only 1 cutting has rooted in the other 3 pots. I removed the cuttings that did not root. And this is why it's a good idea to put multiple cuttings in a pot. These 2 plants have multiple branches that are located quite low on their stems and will be easy to train into a bushy shape. The other 2 are much more upright and could be trained as standards. Overall, the new plants are quite sturdy and sufficiently hardy to be planted out at this time. We will do a follow-up video showing how to train young bogs in pots so that they will have attractive shapes. So look out for that. We've come to the end of another Calyx video in which we showed you how easy it is to propagate Bougainvillea from stem cuttings. Now, you hopefully are also motivated to go and propagate your own Bougainvilleas. And if you don't have cuttings in your garden, ask a friend, ask a neighbor, and keep trying. Practice makes perfect, and before too long, you will be the envy among your friends, and you will be able to share these lovely plants as gifts. Now, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed as yet, there are benefits to you subscribing, of course. The main one being that you will be notified whenever we upload a new video at the end of each week. And as far as the Calyx channel is concerned, we benefit because then we know we are reaching a larger number of viewers who appreciate what we're doing. So until the next video, I am Thelma saying thanks for watching, take care, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.